Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown on November 22nd, 2024. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Sorry, I'm to leave a like. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on this week's episode of SmackDown. And, of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, another week down, we finally have our 5v5 for the men, and boy was I surprised. I really thought that we were going to have Seth Rollins reluctantly agree to join Team Roman to go on to this Wargames battle, but the person that we chose made much more sense. It was CM Punk. Paul Heyman finally coming out, looking very clean in the red and black. I really don't know how he's playing it, though. We are in an age with the bloodline stuff where every little detail counts, right? Like, Jesus, it's almost like dissecting a Kubrick film at this point. I mean, last week, what does Sammy throw onto it? Is he a double agent? Paul Heyman winked at Jimmy Uso. Are they double agents? What is going on? It's just fun to theorize, and it's a very fun story. And, the bloodline is just one of those things that just keeps on going to be very good for the company, because it's not just good for within their story, but they do so well on expanding the other characters and playing out within those storylines as well. I mean, Drew McIntyre, right? After he got done with the bloodline and some of the motivations that used post when he got done with them, with like Jey Uso, CM Punk, did wonders for his career. Kevin Owens right now. I mean, Cody Rhodes and him had one of the best promo segments of the year. I absolutely loved everything about that, because I see both guys as but see both guys as side, where I'm like, yeah, Kevin Owens has a very good point. They almost killed him. I mean, Roman Reigns legit tried to run him over with a golf cart in 2021. And then now, all of a sudden, Cody, I fought by your side. I was there to help you during 39. I celebrated you at 40. And you basically spit in my face because you're going to team with the man who tried to kill me? And then Cody going, well, no, it wasn't even about that. It shows all these escalations. Like, no, Kevin, you don't hate me. You really hate yourself. Amazing promo segment. And I think the same thing is going to happen with Seth Rollins as well. Because now that CM Punk has officially joined this 5-on-5, that's just going to move the hatred towards Punk even more. Well, we do basically think it's going to be Punk versus Rollins at Mania, and I just think this adds fuel to it to help Rollins go heel, where he can be like a Kevin Owens and a Drew McIntyre, where he's saying a lot of truth, but at the same time he is playing the bad guy. So, just kudos to the bloodline, just really not just benefiting and helping themselves, but really expanding it throughout the whole entire company as well. And again, now with their segments, it's like a Kubrick film where we have to dissect every single detail. Like, are we overthinking it? Are we not? We'll see if it comes into play. I mean, people are even studying Paul Heyman's outfit, like, oh, he's dressed exactly the same way as Solo Sikoa was. It's just a really cool thing to see, and it was a great segment. I mean, Paul Heyman got one of the biggest pops probably he's ever gotten. It was borderline Stone Cold level. A bunch of really big pops throughout this whole entire show. Kevin Owens got a decent sized one. Rhea Ripley probably got the second biggest besides Paul Heyman, or third, because Punk was probably bigger than Heyman's. We're like, oh my God, we're really getting this. Love the spot where both Punk and Roman hit their finishers at the exact same time. Love the final pose as the show. After the show went off the air, and I had to look it up on WWE posted the final moment. But yeah, anyway, great stuff, great segment, good stuff leading up to it. I will say, however, and this is part of the stuff that does feel a little bit rushed, and when the OG Bloodline are together, and it was nice seeing them all in their uniform, and they're talking with Roman. He's like, okay, what about Cody Rhodes? He goes, nope, that's old news. And then they're like, well, that's Seth again, and he like gives a look at Roman, which was a very funny line, don't get me wrong, but he's going, hey man, we don't need 5, we can do what just us 4, and if we die, we die. And they were just all okay with it. The only reason why I have an issue with it, I mean, it's funny, but it goes back to Roman has yet to show any growth, right? As this good guy. I mean, cool. We all know he's cool enough where he could do anything that he wants, and he can, and he's still gonna get cheered no matter what. But for the character development to be like, to get that apology to Jey Uso, that apology to Sami Zayn, and Jey Uso going, you can't talk to me disrespectfully, and you don't run the show. We're all equals here. And within this segment, it just really felt like, yeah, no, Roman's in charge. All the lapdogs, because who the hell would agree to that? I don't care what he is saying and how much he's convinced that us four only can do it, and saying if we die, we die. I hear that. I'm going, yeah, so who do you want? You want Cody or Seth? Because Cody will say yes. We're going to ask Cody, okay? Okay. And then moving on. It was just that small part. That's the only negative that I have when it came to the Bloodline this week. But again, overall, good segment overall. And the reason they only agreed to the no was because of the big pop that was happening later. So I can look past it. But still, it was very funny that Roman was like, if we die, we die. And they were just all okay with it, even though they're all supposed to be one collective unit. And the majority all agreed that they could ask Cody. But yeah, let's move on away from the Bloodline stuff with our main event. We'll get to the women's Wargames match too, which added a lot of fuel. The complaints were, I was part of it too, that, hey, this was just kind of thrown together. They just really wanted a women's Wargames match, and this is what we're going to do. And, got my complaint out 2 weeks ago on my Raw review, and then was going to just move on from it, right? Now, they added some good story to it. Jade gets hurt. I don't know if she is legitimately hurt and this is how they write her off, or they're just not going to use her in the Wargames match. I don't hope anyone gets hurt, but I was really curious to see how Jade Cargill could do in a Wargames match where, it isn't just a build up to the hot tag. Now, look, I'm a defender of Jade Cargill. I'm just like, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If she's really good at that, she should continue to use that too. And I was also curious to see her in the triple threat match too, just to see more time within her to see these one-on-one matches and see this progression, because I assume we're doing Bianca versus Jade at Mania, and Jade's gonna probably go 20 plus minutes, or at least 10 by bare minimum. And it's just like, if they're pulling her just to pull her, because storyline wise it kind of makes sense, because it does make more sense to put Bayley on team face, because there's a lot of dynamics there, right? Bianca's cool with team with Io, but she can't stand Bayley, even though they were both in Damage Control. Io is not the hugest fan of Bayley. Bayley does not like Io. There's a lot of good, fun storyline elements that we could do within that. And also, again, with Bianca Belair being like, okay, so why are you cool with Io, but you're not cool with Bayley? And I don't know about that over there, which I assume it gets confirmed on Monday. I know SmackDown was double taped, but oddly enough, this one hasn't been spoiled for me. So really curious to see how the next week's show is going to go. But yeah, there's a lot more interesting stuff to do there within that, with Bayley in it as opposed to a Jade Cargill. But at the same time, because look, they're not hiding it. They're really trying to protect Jade, and they're not having her do these long types of matches. I mean, hell, every time there's a one-on-one or a fatal four-way with these tag team titles, it's Bianca who's representing their team. And, by all means, that's fine. I mean, Jade Cargill is an attraction, so, you probably want to save it for the big shows. But at the same time, it's like, well, if it is just to pull her, even though narratively it does make sense, and if the true reason is that they don't think she's ready yet, when is she ever going to be ready? Like, we need to give her some time. So I think for the most part, I'm just upset that I'm not going to see more of Jade Cargill. And I want to see more of Jade Cargill, whether it's good or bad. I think she's going to do well. I think she's good enough now to get to this point. I mean, hell, she's been working shows for almost a full year. She debuted at the Rumble last year. Next 2 months is 1 full year of Jade Cargill. And I think she does have a little bit, she can offer a little bit more. And I was really curious to see her where she does constantly have to go instead of going for maybe 5 minutes and then, tagging out. But, we'll see how it goes. I'm going to let the story play out. I am very curious to see it because I do assume Bayley is going to replace them. It just makes more sense. Now, as far as who attacked Jade Cargill, I did see the picture going around online, and, I do think it's Naomi. And, she has probably reached where she could go as a babyface, and maybe the glow thing is just, it's ran its course, and, it's just time for a course correction. I think it would be fun to see. I really don't think it was Bianca. I just don't see the reason to turn Bianca heel, because she is so good as a babyface. She is the John Cena of the women's division. Although you can also make the argument that Rhea Ripley is there too. They're both like pretty much up there. And I just don't see why we would turn her heel if she isn't going to face Rhea Ripley. And when they do the fight between Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, I think Jade just comes more natural as a bad guy as opposed to a good guy. I think once she does turn heel, Jade's going to be much more believable, and people are going to get way more behind her. And Bianca is just so naturally good as a good guy. So I really don't see her being the one to attack Jade. I could see it being Naomi, and then maybe she gets the Metaphor, Lash Legend, and Jakara Jackson. Maybe they turn heel too, and they join Naomi, and this is a new faction. Because, let's face it, Pure Fusion Collective didn't work out. Maybe this could be the new heel faction that really runs amok, and that could be a lot of fun. It doesn't have to be Lash Legend, Jakara Jackson. I just know they've been in the mix for a little bit, and I just think, maybe we could just put them together. Or it could be two other women as well. By any means necessary, I don't think this was only one person. Is what I am trying to say. But as far as the leader goes, I do think it was Naomi. Although it could easily happen to be Piper Niven to help the distraction to give Chelsea Green the win, which I was really, really happy to see, because she is my pick, and I do believe she should win the first ever Women's United States Championship. I think she should beat Bayley whenever they face each other in the second round, and then she should beat, I would assume, Michin. I hope she wins. I think it's her triple threat match next week. I do hope she wins to move on, because I do think it'd be fun to have Michin and Chelsea Green fight for the title. Two new people who you're going to give the ball to really establish this mid-card. Don't have anyone, that's already established be the first mid-card title or even have a chance to do it. You can have the established people move through to the second round to put over the other ones as they're heading to the finals. But yeah, really happy that Chelsea Green won. Happy how she did it. And I am really looking forward to that. Now, as for the other United States title, and this is just a problem I have with WWE in general, is that, we're introducing this new women's title, which was very much long overdue. And this just goes back to, was it too early to introduce it? And should we have waited until both shows for 3 hours? And because one title always seems to suffer. Now, you can also make the same argument on Raw when it was 3 hours, because those men tag team titles have been basically non-existent this whole entire year on Raw anyway. On SmackDown, they are starting to get more leverage. But that's what I am trying to say, is that as they are putting focus onto these other things, like the Women's United States title, like the WWE tag team titles, it always seems like one title gets to seem to take the back seat. Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens is not going to be confirmed for a Survivor Series or anything like that. So, in a way it is taking a backseat. But they did get a promo segment to really drive home that narrative. Nia Jax is being used in the Wargames match, but, is still very prominent, and she's still being featured. LA Knight is being featured, but he's having these open challenges, and there's no story there. Yeah, sure, there's Shinsuke Nakamura in the background, but the thing with Shinsuke, however, unless he wins, which I really don't think he will, I just can't get excited about it. Like, Shinsuke is borderline within that Bray Wyatt territory before he turned into The Fiend, where he would be doing all these cool vignettes, these cool promo packages. I mean, it was a great video package that he did right before Santos versus LA Knight was happening. Saying all these cool things, very cool editing, but like, I've seen this dance before, and I just don't buy it. I just don't. Yeah, okay, so now you wear a black jacket and you have some black face paint on too. Oh, okay, I don't think you're going to win. And it just hurts because, Shinsuke should be someone who is a focal feat, and the LA Knight versus Shinsuke Nakamura inevitable match is going to be a lot of fun. I am very much looking forward to that. But again, it's just going to be one of those matches. I'm just like, yeah, well, this will be fun to watch, but I know what the outcome is. Now, if Shinsuke wins, then, discredit everything I have, which I don't know if it's the right time to take the title off of LA Knight, but still, it's just one of those different things where, like, out of all the titles on SmackDown, I think we can all agree that the Men's United States title is the one who's getting less focus, because they are putting so much effort within the Women's United States title, which they should. They are putting a lot more effort into the WWE Tag Team titles, which they definitely should. They are putting a lot of effort to WWE title, which they have to. And the WWE Women's title, even though we don't have a clear contender of it, there was like a great match between Naomi and Nia Jax, and she is officially in the Wargames match. She is being featured on the PLE. So, and the same thing could be happening in Raw, but we'll save that for the Raw review. But yeah, out of all the segments, this was the only one where I was like, really didn't have as much, although everything else, really the SmackDown was absolutely fire. Now to get into the tag team scene with DIY, the Street Profits, and the Motor City Machine Guns, which I do kind of hope we do this triple threat at Survivor Series, because one, we've been talking about it. The tag team titles for the men have yet to be on the PLE since WrestleMania 40, which is not okay. I think that is something that they do need to address in the writers' room and the production team, and just be like, okay, so we need to make the tag team wrestling should be featured on PLEs for the championship, not just for storyline purposes like the Bloodline stuff. And they should be hitting more harder. And with this new reamp on the SmackDown side, it is starting to be that way. I am fully convinced now that Johnny Gargano is going to turn heel and join Tommaso Ciampa, because Ciampa and Montez Ford had a great free match. And, it's just really adding into the storylines as well. Montez Ford is having more of an edge. Tommaso Ciampa is having more of an edge, but he's more aggressive, so therefore we boo him and we cheer for Montez. Dawkins coming out after Montez somehow pulls out the upset win, and then Johnny's trying to play peacemaker, and he pushes him out of the way. And the reason why I do think Johnny Gargano is now going to turn heel with Ciampa as opposed to DIY breaking up, which is what I hope they do, because there's too many breakup angles going on right now, is that, when they're in the back, Tommaso and Johnny Gargano was like, look, I'm sorry, Ciampa, he's just a really passionate guy. He's really a nice guy if you really get to know him. As soon as you give us our tag team shot, he'll be okay. That's all you got to do. And you're like, nah, Street Profits get first, because, he kind of ruined the match. And he's like, well, and he's really upset about that. And then they keep pushing him. And yeah, sure, Tommaso Ciampa is pushing Gargano as well. But as he was leaving, he goes, it's either me or him. And I think he's going to choose Ciampa. If it's reluctantly or not, I do think Gargano needs to, let's do it. Why not? What else are they going to do, right? We have so much more stuff going on SmackDown. I don't see where you would fit this one-on-one feud between Ciampa and Gargano, considering they don't get as big as crowd reactions alone. Hell, they don't get much of a crowd reaction when they are together. So yeah, turn them heel. And it is picking up steam. I am looking forward to the tag team segments as we get to SmackDown now. Now let's just get it over to Raw. But yeah, overall, a phenomenal episode of SmackDown. Cody and KO, one of the best segments of the year. We talked about it at the top of the show. Again, what happened with the Bloodline has really elevated to it. Again, going back to that report that happened on April that Cody Rhodes doesn't have any big stories until after Roman Reigns and The Rock get back. And it wasn't because he was going to be feuding with Roman Reigns and The Rock. It was because of the repercussions of Roman Reigns' presence and Cody Rhodes teaming with Roman Reigns. That's really going to spread this all like wildfire. I cannot wait until Saturday night's main event when we do get heel Kevin Owens, who won't be afraid to take the shot, which they made sure to make a point of during the promo off between Cody and Kevin, where he's going, look, you didn't take it. You had the opportunity when it was my knee, and you didn't do it. Now he will. Now, do I think Kevin Owens is going to win the title? Overall, no, but I really wouldn't be surprised, and I kind of do hope they pull the trigger on it. Bloodline stuff, absolutely amazing. Again, every time they think they pulled us out, they pull us back in, and it makes completely sense, which is why we just need to learn to let them play it out no matter what. Yeah, sure, the Men's United States title stuff has some interesting stuff, but again, with how Shinsuke Nakamura's track record is going, just not fully invested in it, to be honest with you. The women's stuff, women's United States title match, really looking forward to it, as long as we keep it that Chelsea Green wins the title. And the women's Wargames stuff too. Again, even though I do want to see Jade Cargill in the ring more, her being out of it to put Bayley in does have more opportunities for stories to tell within it. Again, with a Wargames match that didn't really have much story to begin with, I guess this is overall the best right move. But again, I just want to see more of Jade. But yeah, overall, another fantastic episode of SmackDown. It is being pre-taped, so I don't know if I'll do a review. I didn't do a review for Raw this week because it was pre-taped, and we kind of already talked about it in my previous one, so I didn't know what to do. And the viewership never really comes into play when we do pre-taped reviews anyway, so I don't know if I'll do one for the SmackDown, especially since it's before Survivor Series. So we'll see. We'll see how my mood is after I get done watching it. But yeah, leave a comment below. Let me know what y'all thought about this episode of SmackDown. If you made it this far, please leave a like. I would greatly appreciate it. And again, hit that subscribe button as we have a lot of content heading your way pretty soon. Survivor Series is next week, so we'll be ready for that. Have a happy Thanksgiving, everyone, if I do not see you next time. But until next time, I'll see you here at Limit Studios.